Marie, how you doing?
How are things, Gary? How are you keeping?
Oh, not too bad. But where are you? Are you in Dublin or are you down the country or up the country?
I'm in Dublin at the minute. Just before St. Patrick's Day, I was in Donegal, but we came back to Dublin, so it's much easier to work from here.
I was always wondering
Yeah.
your northern accent, whether it was which side of the border it was, because it's hard for us in the Pale to work out.
With ourselves, we can distinguish various counties, not even counties, locations within counties. But yeah, for anyone else, it is difficult to distinguish at times.
And are you adapting reasonably okay to the changing working environment? Is something you're used to as they say, some people seem to be adapting better than others because they do a bit before we're restricted.
I would have done the odd day from home before this, but I primarily was based in the office purely because I thought the setup was better. But one thing I've realized now in light of this is I can adapt very easily. And I think that's the same for myself, my team, and the rest of the firm.
Yeah.
We all had to kind of within a 24-hour period go from sitting at a desk with proper desktop and screens to everyone taking essentially their desk home with them. And we're all working fine. We have daily check-ins with our teams. So I know in our team we have, let's say, a call in the morning with a check-in, see how we're all getting on, because I'm conscious that we're all in the same boat, and it's as important to look out for each other as
Yeah.
well as get the work done. So we do a check-in in the morning, and then we've kind of a wind down check-in in the evening, and that's mainly just to catch up and see what we're going to do for the weekend and try and create let's say a start and finish to the day, because otherwise work-life balance, that's one of the key challenges I found, is trying to kind of start work and finish work at a normal hour without kind of it all just paling into one.
Well, that's the clock behind you. It keeps you going, I guess. Every one of those.
Exactly. We need an alarm now.
I tend to surround myself with my favorite bar here. I have
I
all
like your style, Gary.
bar. Now, if I touch it, it'll probably fall over because it's the technology green screen. Have you surprised yourself on anything particular? Obviously, you said you adapted quicker than you thought you might, but is there anything else that you've surprised yourself that has been a positive that you didn't think was you?
I think the biggest surprise that it's not necessarily me. I think it's the team that we have. I think the biggest surprise for me is how much they are looking out for me as well as us all looking out for each other, and it's just great. And from that perspective, let's say, as I said, in our morning check-ins, everyone's like, how did you get on last night? Did you go for a walk? How are you sleeping? And these are conversations we wouldn't have traditionally had. Now,
Yeah.
we'd always kind of have our chit chat, but we're looking out for each other. And it's I think it's so refreshing to see people's change in mentality, and that accounts for myself as as well as everyone else, and I think that's the biggest change, but
Yeah.
it's also the best change.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's definitely people are more mindful. Is that the word that we've all been told
I
to?
think so. Yeah, yeah.
My children, myself, I have a teenage daughter and a teenager, and they're telling me and they're teaching me all about emotional intelligence.
They're much more clued in than we are. That's for sure.
Well, they certainly have a term for everything anyway, that's for sure. Just being nice, I used to call it. Now they call it
Yeah.
intelligence. And in terms of how's your business doing? Is a global legal practice in terms of the face to face with clients and long night negotiations, is that still functioning, or is it more in a holding pattern?
I think at the moment, in terms of the business side, there's a, let's say, like any kind of time of uncertainty within a business, there are certain aspects that will continue to plow on and continue to move forward. So with those aspects of the business, we're seeing companies are continuing to move forward with their plans. For other plans, they're changing their plans. So maybe, let's say, our involvement with clients, and as you say, long night negotiations, or let's say pushing projects forward, we're continuing to do that, but in a different way, if that makes sense. And I think we're seeing a lot more, let's say, integration between ourselves and clients. We're working hand in glove in terms of projects at the moment, which is fantastic, and we're becoming more inbuilt within their internal systems, because at the end of the day, we're here to support them. They're let's say, grappling with the new working environment just like ourselves. They're facing the exact same challenges just like ourselves. So it's very much we're in this together. And I think it's great to see, because we're now having, let's say, conversations with clients, colleagues, and let's say counterparts at the other side of the table at a level that we never would have had before. And people want people to do well, and they want to help businesses. And I think it's to be in a position to do that at this time is, I think, fantastic for us.
Some people that are still around from the Second World War, I was listening to some of their transcripts, and they were talking about that sense of in it together, unity, and a sense for, this one is invisible, this thing we're fighting is invisible, but still getting behind the frontline workers, getting behind the health workers. We were out last week, you may have been as well, clapping outside the houses. There was sort of a great endorphin release. You were clapping for them, for yourself, for humanity, for something, but it felt actually quite good. I thought the English did it last night. We didn't. We obviously we only do it once, do we?
Yeah, we'll need to arrange another night, because to be honest, the work they're doing is absolutely phenomenal. All those essential workers that are leaving their house to do things to support us. Take, for example, us using Zoom at the moment, us sitting at our desk, us going to the supermarket, us calling a GP, watching the nurses literally spend hours upon hours upon hours dealing with the stress and on their feet and working so hard, and all of it is to support us. And I think anything that we can do to show our gratitude is a very small price to pay.
No, I completely agree with you. They're incredible people, though. Even before this, it is often, I think, a vocation to be in the healthcare business.
100%.
Because even sort of A&Es and that type of stuff, they were called angels without wings even before now. They're called heroes, or what was it Brad said, you don't have to have a cape.
Not all heroes wear capes.
So if there was so you look like you're doing okay. Your clock there tells you that you're only allowed another 2 minutes here, because you won't do your daily rate. If there's three words you were to, because the one thing that we're finding as we have these calls is that not every geographic area is going through the same phases at the same time. And I think one of the advantages maybe we had was we learned from the Italians. We looked at it, saw it, they were close to us, we empathized with them. And now America is obviously going through it, and even further afield, parts of America aren't quite where maybe the Eastern Coast is. If there was three words that you'd use, what would you say?
I would say thank you to the frontliners.
That's so beautiful. It's so true.
Each and every one of them, because all of them who, as I said, leave their house to protect us and to help us will be eternally grateful.
Yeah. Well, I hope you stay safe.
You too, Garry, and everyone in Hosting Ireland.
Yeah, and thank you so much. You have brought a breath of fresh air to the community, because as you know, you're the first legal practice that have come in, and you've been wonderful. So thank you for joining Hosting Ireland, and stay safe, which is the main thing.
You too, Garry. Thanks a million.